Well, good morning upon you and happy Saturday. Kind of redundant, I know. It's October 12th. It's 8:26 in the morning here in Western Iowa. And the weather's kind of quiet across the country, and that's okay. We'll go from east to west, shall we? So, here in the east, a little bit of cool air spilling in behind this big low, and a few clouds up here in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, maybe Pennsylvania. Then we get into the Midwest, another batch of clouds, mostly high clouds here. Maybe could squeak out a shower around South Bend, Indiana. Maybe. More cloud cover as you get into Minnesota. Probably some showers here, moving into Wisconsin and Michigan, and then back off the coast of southern Oregon, northern California. A nice little low here, spreading some clouds and some showers into northern California and into Oregon. We'll talk about that here in just a bit because we're going to talk about your weather forecast for the whole country through next weekend. Amazing, I know. All right, for the watches and warnings across the country right now, not a lot going on, which is probably fine. Some dense fog along the coast of Texas. Still some flooding issues in Florida with rivers and the coast there towards Jacksonville. And a few river flooding issues in South Carolina and Georgia, even North Carolina. Way up there. I mean, if you live up there, beautiful leaves right now, I'm sure, maybe even past peak for Vermont and New Hampshire into Maine. But we do see a wind advisory there, so be advised there's going to be some wind. And then when you get into Nebraska, there's also going to be some wind, and it's been very dry and it's still on the warm side. So red flag warnings here for a high fire danger. All right, let's check out our weather spotlight. We go to Sacramento, California, because I don't know that well, it's been a while. How about that? So Sacramento is saying there's some rainfall in the forecast, but it's not going to be a lot. So, but here's the danger: slick roads from oil buildup on the roadways, and then you add just a little bit of water and it can get slickery. So be careful out there if you have a commute on Saturday. And a quick moving weather system passes through today with isolated rain showers possible through this evening. So there you go on our weather spotlight to Sacramento and Northern California. Salute. Now remember, that part of the country has been very hot. Just a week or so ago, just a week or so ago, it was very hot. Like in Redding was over 100. So a relief from the heat at least. And on our surface, there is that system moving in Northern California into Oregon and Nevada. Also, we see our rain showers for Minnesota, Wisconsin, into Michigan. More showery as you get into the Midwest, into Pennsylvania, New York, and the Northeast, with your rain in Maine and a few showers for Florida today. Temperature-wise, it's these are temperatures. This is your anomaly temperature, so above and below average, and mostly it's above average, especially for the Midwest into the Central Plains, just 25 degrees above average, 20 degrees above average for much of Texas. So hot stuff, even teens above average for the Northern Plains. But with that system in Minnesota into Wisconsin, it's a little bit cooler than average, like maybe 5 degrees below average. So pretty nice here. Then for the Northeast, also below average in the Northern California system. Knocking those temperatures below average for Sacramento into, Sacramento at average, but below average north of that, Northern California. That translates to these kind of highs. Mostly 60s and 70s, Northern California, 70s up the Willamette Valley in Oregon, and a lot of 70s for the Intermountain West, too, even into the plains. So Northern Plains, a lot of 70s, a few 60s in North Dakota. 60s when you get into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, but 70s and even 80s for the Midwest, and then 90s into the plains. Yikes. 70s Mid-Atlantic, northward, transitioning to 60s when you get into New York State, and even some 50s up there in Maine. Lows tomorrow morning. Here we go. Freezing temperatures. Yeah, back on the map. It's fall somewhere, mostly Montana into North Dakota, and also up there in, say, New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, temperatures at or below freezing. So kind of chilly in the morning. A lot of 50s on this map, even some 40s out west. But we're hanging on to 70s in the desert Southwest to start the day, and Florida too, and 60s from Texas into the Midwest to start the day tomorrow. But we do see our cold front on tomorrow's surface making further progress south into the plains and east into the Midwest. Still some rain for the Great Lakes, becoming more showery in the Midwest and the Northeast. Some snow mixed in, Pennsylvania, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, very fall-like. Colorado with a little bit of rain mixed with snow, and Utah some rain. And then the anomalous temperatures look like this. That is where the cool temperatures are, up in the Northeast, where you have a chance of some snow mixed in with your rain. Temperatures 15 degrees below average up here, but still 15 degrees above average for Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, even into Missouri. And then you get further up into, say, the northern Rockies, much above average here, into the Northwest. It's on the warm side as well. Those highs look like that. Still 70s up there in the northern Rockies, into the inner Mountain West and the Northwest. Near 80 for the Central California valleys. Still 100 Tucson and Phoenix. 90s to near 100 for Texas. Is that 100 for Austin? Oh my goodness. That's pretty hot for a Sunday, for an October 13th. And then we get into the 70s, a narrow strip of 70s there in Kansas into Missouri. And then right north of that, it's going to be very pleasant here on Sunday, 60s for Iowa, 50s, Minnesota into Wisconsin, and some 40s up there in New England even. Your surface for Monday. So we have a rain mixed with snow there, Colorado still. Same for Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and along the Canadian border, and the UP of Michigan. Seeing some, is that lake effect maybe? Lake effect rain mixed with snow. It could happen. You know, lake effect rain is a thing. Lake effect snow, of course, is the famous thing. That is also a thing. All right, so a cold front through the mid-Atlantic into the southeast now, into Texas. So some relief from the heat for parts of Texas, and another system up there in the Pacific Northwest. Your anomalous temperatures for Monday, still above average for Texas, but much below, say, mid-Atlantic northward into the Great Lakes, into the Midwest, into the Northeast, especially the Northeast, and especially the UP of Michigan, 15, 20 degrees below average. Pretty close to average here in Iowa. And then you get just a little bit further to the west in western Nebraska, and you're back 10 degrees above average, even 20 degrees above average for parts of the northern Rockies. Those highs look like that. How about some 80s for Montana? Wow. But 50s to near 60 for Iowa, very pleasant. Cooling off in Texas, but still warm with a lot of 80s here. 95 still for San Antonio, where the front still hasn't made it. Cooling off in the desert Southwest too. 99 for Phoenix, which is not a triple-digit number. So very nice. All right, let's take a look at our GFS model and see what's cooking. We'll start out with today. Wait, let me go back up. See, is there a little bit of snow in here? Well, mostly on the Canadian side, but some rain for the Northeast. Just some light showery activity, Northern California. A little more pronounced as you go through the Great Lakes later on today. This is early tomorrow. With those showers moving through New York State, Michigan getting wet, some showers down there in Tennessee briefly, and now it turned into snow behind the low, and the 540 line dipping into Ohio, into Minnesota, into Chicago. So the demarcation line, the 540 line between rain and snow, is showing some snow on this map here in Pennsylvania, into Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire, and this is Monday morning. Another system moving into the Pacific Northwest Monday morning. So yeah, a little bit of snow in October for the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. Then it's mostly rain, but you see a little bit of snow mixing in there in West Virginia. This is Tuesday afternoon. And that 540 line, the colder air, dipping all the way into the mid-Atlantic. So a nice cool off for much of the East Coast as that system cranks well to the northeast. But it is cold air spilling in behind it. And then we have another system moving into the Pacific Northwest. This is Wednesday. And I pointed this out before, but you see these lines of equal pressure tightening up here in the plains. And we have high pressure here. The circulation around the high is like that. We have low pressure here. The circulation around the low is like that. And it's just funneling that warm air straight into the plains. So we're going to have a big warm up in the plains mid next week, which I'm not looking forward to. I'm ready for winter, much less fall. We haven't had a whole lot of fall here yet, but that's going to change. It's going to oscillate back and forth, which is typical for fall. So Thursday, just windy in the plains into the Midwest, and this is a warm wind. But in the Northwest, it's rain and snow coming down. I mean, snow for eastern Oregon into Idaho, parts of Montana. It's pretty spotty. It's not super heavy, but the southern Cascades, pretty decent. Into the Siskiyous of California. This is Thursday afternoon and evening. And as we go through Thursday and get into Friday here, this system is moving into Wyoming, into Idaho, into Utah, into Nevada. So the 18th of October, with the main low up here in Canada, a system moving into the Rockies and the Intermountain West with rain and snow, and still some strong southerly breezes ahead of that. We're seeing some thunderstorms bust out northeastern New Mexico into West Texas, and just warm air blowing into the plains, and a cool high pressure settling into the east. So it's going to stay cool here. So that's nice. All right, let's check and see what happens with this low and all that snow moving through Utah. This is the 19th, and a low does form near the Four Corners, Arizona, especially into Nevada. So we're still seeing snow on the north side of that low, and we're seeing some rain here, Las Vegas, some rain and snow depending on where you are in Arizona. Looks like Payson getting some snow here, the White Mountains maybe. This is Saturday. So next week, a week from today, is that right? 19th? Yes. Today's the 12th, plus 7 is 19. So a week from today, could see some snow in the higher elevations of Arizona into Utah. And then rain in New Mexico, snow and a little bit in Colorado. But, our friend whose girlfriend is flying into Colorado in a couple weeks, this doesn't look as drastic for her. As we get into the 21st and the 22nd, it looks like more of a rainstorm. But maybe some thunderstorms, maybe some snow on the 22nd. So, something to keep an eye on. We're going to keep you updated as we go. So this is what the GFS is saying today, as it keeps changing a little bit. Now, low forming into the plains. This is on the 23rd. So we're getting out there a little bit on this forecast. But this could be a severe weather maker as we get later into the month for parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and then moving into Arkansas, some rain showers, Missouri as well, and then another system for the Pacific Northwest around the 25th, something to watch out for. So, the pattern's changing a little bit. The plains cooling off this weekend, at least the northern plains, central plains too, and then heating back up next week. And then hopefully cooling off by the end of the month, but we're going to have to wait. I think on balance, it's going to be above average for the plains. That is the forecast for the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, 17th through the 21st. Warm, center part of the country. Cool, Pacific Northwest, and cool, Mid-Atlantic. Precipitation-wise, maybe we'll bring back some showers for the middle of the country. We need it. Into the Rockies and up to the Northwest, and then dry for the East. All right, let's go through our anomalous temperatures through next week and just see where above and below average temperatures are going to be. Fall tends to swing back and forth, and we're going to see some of that. So for Tuesday, much below average for the Midwest into the Tennessee Valley into the mid-Atlantic, and then up into the Northeast, even the Great Lakes. So this is Tuesday, much above average, I would say, for parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and then up into the northern Rockies and Northwest. Then Wednesday, we see that warmer air, with those very warm and breezy south winds. Breezy south winds, that's redundant. Warming up the plains again. Northern plains much above average. The cool stuff on the East Coast and a little bit on the Northwest. Then we see more cool air invading the Northwest, more hot air invading the northern plains and upper Midwest, even central plains warm. The Southeast and Mid-Atlantic on the cool side. This is Thursday. Friday, that cold air just dropping straight south on the West Coast. And so like we showed you that chance for snow, even coming to some of the higher elevations of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, it's going to be much below average. And you guys have suffered through such a hot summer. So big relief coming your way around the 18th and the 19th. Well deserved. Good job. 25 degrees below average a week from today. Very nice. But much above average where I live in Iowa for parts of the Midwest, Central Plains, into the Great Lakes. And then a week from tomorrow, that cool air moderates a little bit for Arizona, but still below average. Southern California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, even parts of West Texas, a little bit below average, and much above average for the Central Plains into the Midwest. So there you go, your forecast, not just for this weekend that we're currently in, but through next weekend and a little bit beyond as well. Some of the guesswork in the GFS. So I hope you enjoyed it. I do appreciate you tuning in. And of course, we'll keep you posted and we'll continue on. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Weather Mic.